All right, well, welcome everybody. This is the Las Vegas Drones Meetup at Tech Alley. Yeah, I know it's always so inspiring seeing people who were just first timers come back and say they're getting their Part 107. That's clear impact, you know. It's a certification that you could essentially use commercially as a drone pilot. So I'm going to jump in. Again, I only have this slides just to stir the conversation. We really like to talk back and forth during this meeting. So if you feel free to interrupt, bring something up if it comes to your mind, talk to someone. It's supposed to be a dynamic conversation. It's not a presentation for you to listen to me. So if you haven't scanned the QR code, I'll put it up again later and we can do it. Today's agenda, we already did our welcome and introduction. I'll show some drone resources. We typically start with this so that those who do not know would say, hey, they came to the meetup and now they learned something about these resources. These are typically around regulation, federal and local ordinances, and I'll share information as to where you could get them. Many of us already know these information, but some of us might not. And then we'll talk about we'll show some of the recent hardware that has been released. For those of us that are interested in manufacturing, trying to build something associated with the hardware, or you just want to buy a drone, you can see that. And of course, we want to highlight our own software that we're building here in Las Vegas within this industry today to show you some of the work that we've been able to do with it. And just before I continue, we have a launch party at 4 p.m. today at Havana. Please feel free to show up. It's going to be food and drinks. And at the end, we'll have to share with you some of the upcoming events. There's actually one of the largest commercial drone events happens here in Las Vegas. We typically tend to secure a free ticket sometimes. So if you keep showing up, you might get a free ticket to go to this show where you would see all kinds of drones and software and all kinds of stuff going on. They typically do it at Caesars Forum. And then we'll talk about the Vegas Drone Meetup, the second Vegas Drone Meetup that's going to be held in November this year. It's essentially the drone meetup is being put together by pockets of drone communities here in Las Vegas to come together in November to celebrate all things drones. It's going to be a 2-day event. I'll share the date specifically, but we had it last year and it was a blast. We're fully involved, but this year we're trying to get more of our members to attend that event. So we'll talk about that. And then at the end, there's a Q&A, a Mingle session, share cards, talk to people, connect, and learn about other people's businesses. We already talked about this. So actually, let me just quickly talk about it. So we do go out and fly drones in small groups or sometimes as an entire community. This is probably the more fun part. But the reason why we meet in here in this room because I have the philosophy and we share the philosophy that to be the best drone pilot you can be, it starts from before you go out to the field. It's how you plan the drone, looking at the airspace, where you're going to take off and land, all of your mission planning and regulations. And there's a bunch of stuff that happens under the roof before you actually go out and fly. That's why we come here to talk about those things. And when we go out to fly, we actually put them in practice. Okay, the first resource that I have today is associated with what the gentleman mentioned earlier is just navigating drone regulation. We figured some of these things seem to come naturally to Part 107s, but for people who know nothing about drones, some people don't even know their regulations guiding drones. So you would often see people for their first time, they get excited, they buy a drone for their children, and they're just flying it illegally. And it's typically not an issue these days until something goes wrong. And if something goes wrong, it's going to be what went wrong and the fact that you were actually flying the drone illegally. We do not want to build that kind of community, so I wanted to share with you the Trust and Part 107. The Trust exam, which is really not an exam, please feel free to add here if you want, is essentially a training that the FAA wants you to take. This training essentially is if you've never flown a drone, if it's your first time, even if you're flying as a hobbyist or a recreational pilot, which the FAA calls it. This essentially gives you the basics about flying safely, knowing what airspace to fly. So please check out the FAA Drone Zone. So if you Google FAA Drone Zone or you Google FAA Trust, you can take this training. You cannot fail it. It's not an exam. If you fail it, they ask you to take it over and over and over again until you pass it. So once you get this, hooray, you're officially a drone pilot, kind of. So you can, fly recreationally. That means you still cannot do commercial work with the drone, but at least you know a lot of information that can then lead you to getting your Part 107. So check out faa.gov/UAS/recreational flyers.
How many questions is that?
Good question. How many questions do they have on the Trust? You guys, anybody remember?
I think it's like 10.
10?
12, 10.
10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Short example.
it's a short. I also have the opportunity of like training some high school kids right now to become Part 107, and they all got their trust like the very first day of class. So you can't fail the exam.
Yeah, I advise the drone club at my high school, and my students won't fly without the trust.
Yeah.
So I educate them. We do some hands-on stuff. I put drones in their hands to understand what it feels like and looks like.
Yeah.
And then I say, okay, your next step before you can get on any controls under any circumstances, go get your trust.
Yeah.
And they use Canvas is one of the
Yep.
learning platforms that it's presented on.
Yep.
They use Canvas all the time, so they were like, okay, guys, Mr. Good to go.
Very quick. Yeah, it's super quick to get this, and highly recommend it if you're gonna fly drones. Next thing, obviously, is Part 107. Congrats to those who just got your Part 107. It's just, that's awesome, because it's always good to see people show up. They're not Part 107, and then they show up. The reason why we get excited, because this is a workforce that we're trying to build. If you look at that billboard there, when Richard and I started Aero AI in 2022, we very quickly understood that we needed to build community. And a huge part of growing that community is getting community members who actually have their Part 107. So to get your Part 107, you have to do a training. This is an exam, which you can fail, but you can retake. It's okay. Some of the best of us, sometimes we have to take it twice. But essentially, to fly drones commercially, and to do several other things, right? To get access to certain restricted airspace, or to be able to put in for authorization to get access to those airspace, you have to be a commercial drone pilot. Last time yes, go ahead.
So if you, just a quick, I was thinking about this the other day, you're not Part 107, you fly a drone, you have a YouTube channel, you just put that up on the YouTube channel. Let's just say it gets really popular, it doesn't happen like this, but let's just say overnight it gets really popular, you get 1 million subscribers, you start making revenue off ads. Yes.
Vaughn, well, let's expand on it. That's a very good question, and we have to talk about that. Go ahead.
The key thing on 107 and trust is 107 is not monetized. It has nothing to do with commercial, even though they say commercial. If you read into the regulation, I forget the exact para, Dom, you know it. It actually says anything other than recreation. Okay. So if you take a picture for your church and you give it to them, that's not recreation for you. All of us that are at Red Rock Search and Rescue, we don't get paid, we're all volunteers. We fall under Part 107, so doing anything that isn't pure recreation, going and flying, you want to throw it up on a website you're promoting, you're doing a YouTube, you do anything like that isn't pure recreation, then you need the Part 107.
But to his point though, because there was a nuance to his point, right? He mentioned essentially, what if I was a hobbyist and out of recreation, I started this YouTube channel just to put myself out, like a lot of us do. And then overnight I had a video that went viral, and now I'm making $100 a day from ads. What do you do in that situation?
You get your 107.
After.
Legal shield, you can talk to a lawyer every day.
Yeah. So there you have it, right? So it could be tricky, because even flying a drone for your church, you could say you're just doing it for recreation. But yeah, once you start getting into that area, this is the reason why we just say, hey, just get the Part 107 regardless. Even if you're going to do a hobbyist flight, just get the Part 107 so you could not have those concerns. But ideally, you would want to get your Part 107 as soon as possible.
And FAA in general, it's all about safety. And they're not out there, they're not necessarily the cops, they're about being safe. Yeah. So if you've done something in the past, you didn't know and you do it, it would be rare, I mean really, really rare, that they would ever go after you. And the people that have been prosecuted by FAA and gotten a $1.9 million fine, was they knew it, they were given warnings, they didn't do, they kept on breaking safety type stuff. Mm-hmm. So the key is safety, and once you find out, you end up doing the right way. And then for everybody else, if you're flying and you're flying over cars and you're doing the strip and you think you're okay, but you're actually flying over moving vehicles, all you're doing is hurting everybody else. Because right now there may not be a local ordinance on it, but you keep on doing that, there's going to be a local ordinance that will shut people down.
Totally. And just to mention, Cam typically says this, and if you've ever flown on the strip, there is a group called the Fusion Watch, and it's a group of those three acronym organizations that you do not want calling your phone. I think it's like the FBI, the CIA, or something like that. But essentially, if you're flying on the strip, the cops might pull up because they know when you're flying in this restricted airspace.
They will.
Okay, so they will pull up. So just be very careful. We're trying to not. It's so easy to jinx it because it's a drone. It falls on the car, something goes wrong. We just don't want to be in that situation. We've been privileged of having a good 3-year track record, and we want to keep it that way. If you have any questions, ask. phone.
And just because the cops pull up and then you show them your FAA and you're nice and they're okay, doesn't mean you're doing it right.
Yep.
Right? If you, because those cops that pull up are looking for safety. Fusion Watch is about anti-terror. They're just looking to say, is this guy a terrorist or not? If they don't say that, they've got better things, they've got bad people to go get. They could care less about your legal aspects if you're doing it within ordinance.
Yeah.
So you still, just because the cops let you go does not mean you're following ordinance.
Yeah, because the FAA might just send you a letter like a few days later. So,
They know who you are.
yeah,
And
they do. They have your address. So,
And the biggest risk you take on that, especially on this, if you're flying over the strip, let's say a bird hits your drone. You don't have insurance, you haven't done all the right permits, you don't have the things done right. You may have your 107, but you don't have any of those other things done right. That car goes down, hits a car, somebody runs into somebody, you and the person who hired you are probably liable.
yep. So,
Just think about that if you're flying in those areas.
there is a lot, you know, if you're doing video photography or videography or photography on the strip, that's a high risk area. So these things are important. It's the reason why we start with this. So these are like the federal regulations. Also, before I move forward, you have to register your drone. Not all drones, but I don't want to get into it. But just register your drone, right? $5. Make sure your drone's registered. Think about driving a vehicle and not having license plates or registering it. Not it crashes. Nobody knows what happens. Just register your drone for $5. You could do it at FAADroneZone.com. I don't think there's anything else to add on that. I wanted to share this resource and shout out Don Hill. This is the website lvhdp.com/home. As you guys know, the drone industry has several regulations at the federal level, but we're seeing ordinances at the state and local level that is starting to make drones a little harder to fly in certain places, right? So you may very well have your Part 107, you may very well get your airspace authorization, but do you know if you should be taking off from a specific point? What parks can you fly in Las Vegas? Stuff like that. There's a lot of local ordinances that we're having. And so the Las Vegas and Hennessy Drone Pilots website and group, which I have used. So I have to say again, kudos to Don. I have actually looked through this website and I've seen Don sending emails to cops and screenshotting those emails and putting them on the website just to educate everyone. Don, I don't think you get paid for this, right? Do you get paid for this? Right. It's out of the love for the community. And so stuff like this is so important, and this is such an important resource that I highly recommend that you check out, because yes, you may follow the federal laws, but there's still state ordinances and local ordinances that you need to pay attention to. And just finding a cool place to fly as well. Okay. Actually, this is not correct. Let me, 400. Okay, so we're getting into the hardware. I wanted to share this hardware and, just share the highlight reel. It's a 4-minute video. And then I have a slide right next to it that hopefully can trigger some kind of conversation. It's kind of unfortunate that this drone is currently not available here in America, though you could get it through some other means, but it's Canada. That's one way to do it. But again, we were just talking about this before the session started with Chinese drones and the concerns that we have currently. And so these guys, they make amazing drones, and this is just one new enterprise hardware that they just made. And I just want you to take a moment to watch this video. Is it not? Where is the? Let's see if the audio is gonna.
Introducing DJI Matrice 400, engineered for power, built to conquer any challenge. Matrice 400 features a next-generation airframe, integrating a new high-capacity battery.
DJI does not pay me though. This is just. I'm just sharing this information. They probably should, but.
Computing module. It supports a maximum payload of 6 kilograms and allows advanced payload configurations. Matrice 400 is ready for any task. Rain or shine, wind or dust, undaunted and unstoppable. Even with H-30T, it delivers up to 59 minutes of forward flight and speeds up to 25 meters per second. The 04 Enterprise Enhanced Transmission offers 40-kilometer range and supports dual DJI cellular dongle 2 for more stable signals. When inspecting across mountainous terrain, the airborne video transmission helps eliminate blind spots and open common areas.
Beyond showing the product, I think it's cool to see what's possible with these kind of drones. That's the whole idea.
With the ZenMuse H30 series, automated inspection of conductors and ground wires streamlines operations. Paired with the ZenMuse L2, the drone can easily follow power lines and automatically bypass crossing lines, ensuring uninterrupted operations. Real-time preview allows you to instantly check data quality as you fly. During a single flight, you can capture point cloud models over a distance of up to 15 kilometers. Matrice 400 features enhanced anti-interference capabilities, combining the sub-2G module and DJI cellular dongle 2,
Which we don't have.
stable signals. In cruise mode, pilots can focus on the live feed without manual control. Matthew AR projection provides clear visualization of flight points. With ZenMuse H30T, thermal smoke detection can detect vessels and other objects during both day and night. Pinpoint inline drawing with the laser rangefinder deliver precise vessel distance measurements. Flight Hub 2 provides comprehensive airspace visualization for efficient scheduling. Matrice 400 also supports takeoff and landing on ships, enabling efficient inspections even in distant offshore environments. In emergencies, Matrice 400 responds fast, reaching critical areas quickly. With the DJI tethered battery, it can hover continuously, providing essential.
I know, right? It's just they just keep going.
Thermal smart detection automatically detects vehicles and other objects. Laser pinpoint and line drawing tools assist in mapping out the most effective rescue route in real time. With ZenMuse P1, Matrice 400 delivers high-precision mapping for complex and large-scale settings. Sloped and geometric flight routes capture detailed textures and structures. In addition, real-time terrain follow and 5-directional oblique capture enable rapid data collection over vast areas. Orthophoto flights reach up to 25 meters per second, boosting efficiency by 60%. With DJI Terra, you can export high-accuracy 3D models for better digital assets. To meet diverse application needs, Matrice 400 can be equipped with Manifold 3 for powerful.
Oh, he's not here. This is what I was
While
telling
a
him.
wide range of interfaces enables seamless industry integration and unlocks new possibilities. No matter the hour, or the terrain,
Almost done.
DJI Matrice 400 is
30
always
seconds.
by your side. Driven by innovation, it transforms the way you work, turning every mission into a bold step forward, and empowering you to push boundaries and keep exploring wherever your journey leads.
All right. Well, what do you guys think about the M400? I mean, look at how many payload can go on this thing.
I smell sponsorship coming on.
So no, that wasn't. I mean, any cool drone tech, I will show up here. We've shown different types of drone technology, but I just, wanted us to take a moment to talk about this drone, what it means for the industry, what it means to not have access to it, direct access to it here. You could already see, the diverse application of these drones. I'm sure, Vaughn, you would appreciate if we had a capable drone like this to do some of the work you do at Red Rock, search and rescue, or even similar work that you do for your business as well, right?
Our drones does most of that already, the ones we have in the hotels.
Okay, which is also made in China, as I understand, right? Right. So, there is other members here who have been involved in public safety. Tom Dowling, who's not here, guy loves DJI, talks about how it's literally saving lives for the fire department and people that are doing critical work as well. However, as we know, we don't have access to this drone. Currently, what I know, it's between $10,000 to $14,000 for what I'm seeing online. But those payloads that go on the drone could be way more. The L2, I think, currently goes for about $14,000, $13,000. So this is the enterprise side of things. Obviously, this is like bigger drones, but they're being used by some of us have flown similar kind of drones here. But one of the reasons why I put this up is I just wanted to talk about the implication of the symbol right here on the side, what this means for the future of the drone industry. So for the past few years, there's been concern around DJI drones being made out of China. We don't want to get too political, but maybe talk about some of the innovation crisis we might encounter by not having direct access to these drones, they've deliberately made it very hard to bring these drones to the US because the tariffs and also the bad press that DJI is getting, that they're using drones to spy on American citizens, which is still yet to be proved by a lot of people. But yeah, I don't know if anybody had any comments they wanted to say. You don't have to talk about, you know, being made in China. You can also just simply talk about the drone on its own. Any takes, questions specifically on this hardware? Yes, please go ahead.
Is there an American vertically integrated drone company that I could be aware of?
Great question. Does anybody want to answer that question before I jump in? I don't want to be the only one speaking up here. There are a few, and I could, you know, say them. So there's Skydio, which is, I think, the largest American drone manufacturer right now. There is Brink Drones, which does drones for law enforcement. There is the Free Flight Systems. They make the Astro. So there are drones that are available. Teledyne as well. There are drones that are available, but they tend to be quite pricey. And from my honest opinion, and from what we've heard from others too, the capabilities might be lacking as well. But it's up to you to go check it out, your application. I've heard some good things about the X10, the Skydio X10, which is like a $20,000 drone, but it only has one sensor, so you can only do what's on that sensor essentially. I know they have an SDK, so if you want to build software, you could potentially do it. Richard and I, we've been showing a lot of interest. We want to see local drone manufacturing here in Vegas for the US. And we are doing we're taking little steps to be able to see what we can contribute to that movement. But I mean, just to take a step back, if you see what's going around in the world today, the way drones are being used, which we do not advise here to some extent, is almost like it's inevitable, right? Where it's not a national security thing. Where could we produce enough drones to defend ourselves if it's needed? And we've had active Air Force personnel show up here, and if you read the news, you will see there's a huge push to have the younger generation to make drones locally. But again, cost continues to be a thing. You know, all the parts that goes into the drones are now made here, at least the majority of them. Even Skydio makes their batteries in China, even though they wouldn't want you to know that. So that is an issue, right? How do we push battery manufacturing, propellers, software, hardware, and make it here, but make it affordable too? We understand it's going to be very hard to compete with China in terms of price points, but you know, if we can make Teslas, I would assume that we can make drones. Hopefully, maybe Tesla makes drones one day, but that's just one of the calls. I wanted to put this up here to kind of let you guys know where we're at. So if you have a brilliant friend, a child, anybody that you know that's interested in making drones, now's the time. I mean, the industry is just hot. There's demand for it. Drone companies are raising money almost every week, right? Brink just raised $75 million for their platform as well. So there is funding, VC funding, that wants to fund locally made, American-made drones. We just don't have enough of them. And if you do become the person, please do not forget about us consumers, because that's been one of the issues that we've had. So I just mentioned Skydio, which is a great company. I love Skydio, but it started as a consumer company and kind of shifted after getting a lot of funding for the government. I say these things not to slander anybody or to hype anyone up. I'm just speaking from an objective point of view. I think many of us would agree that, you know, if a company made a lot of money or started out serving the consumer drone industry, you know, you want to keep, you know, serving that industry, even if you get bigger contracts. Because the reason is the positive press that we get from drone, the commercial application, the life-saving, being able to put one under the tree on a Christmas day for your children. That's how we proliferate the technology. It's not by selling it to, you know, the military to bomb people. Honestly, let's just be facts. And that has been the perspective of drones for the past 20 years, that they're war machines. But we're starting to see that they're being used for fun, they're being used for commercial work. So we're hoping we can make drones locally that are not only being used by the warfighter, but also by just people here in this room. So any other comments, thoughts on this specifically? All right.
I can make
Yeah.
a quick comment, just
Go
from
ahead.
experience.
Yes, sir.
We had to buy, our other drones ran out of service life, so we had to buy new ones, and we were looking through and I was doing the pros and cons. The Skydio, because I had one for my business, their business model wasn't just the drone itself, but reason I did not go with it, even though, you know, we wanted, we're a 501(c) and not an agency, so we weren't forced to using American-made drones, but I had it as an option. But they had if you're going to use any of the capabilities on it, in addition to buying the $15,000 drone, you got a $4,500 a year subscription to be able to use the different things. So some of that business model wasn't good for us, and that was just right. We decided, hey, we just can't. We're a small organization. We can't afford that. We don't get government money. Everything we do is either free or from donations.
And
So
this
that's why we went with Autel.
This is Red Rock Search and Rescue.
Yeah.
And that's not a small organization. I mean, it is a small organization, but you can also see how it costs,
Yeah,
right?
compared to other rescue
Right.
sheriff's offices, we are a small organization.
Right. So Charles, like you and I were doing some data. Yeah.
Yes.
Done. So Charles, you and I were doing some data capture a couple of days ago, a week ago or so. We talked about this, right? I mean, you just bought the Matrix 4. Did you have to pay for any additional subscriptions or stuff like that to get software on the drone?
No, all of it worked. The AI capabilities worked. The ability to do everything else, like it worked in the drone. And it's kind of like the whole reason why I still use like DJI and Autels, because that's it. Once I buy the drone, it's done. The only other thing that I have to worry about right now is my photogrammetry software, which is WebODM, which is also free, or it costs money depending on like if you run your own server or pay for the cloud. Anyway, like, but yeah, no, that's like the whole reason why like I only use DJI and Autel, because I don't have to worry about anything else. I don't want to have to pay $4,500 a year just to use additional features. The same way BMW wants to charge me like $30 a month to use the heated seats.
You know what I mean? Like, imagine you buy your iPhone and now every app that goes on the iPhone, you have to pay for the app, even though it's just giving you features that the iPhone developers could have built. That is not sustainable. And I understand you got to generate funding, but $3,500 a year for 3D scan, a feature that you could just add to the drone to make it more competitive, it doesn't seem like they care about the consumer, in my opinion, because we don't have that money to spend. So stuff like that is the reason why professionals in this room, you would ask, if I did a poll in this room right now, probably one person owns a non-DJI drone.
And that's because he built it.
Exactly. So it's like, it's not a, you know, yes, please, go
My
ahead.
first one was not my only one.
Well, what do you have?
About a Potensic Atom 2.
What is that? I just want to like, could you talk about the drone essentially?
Yeah, it's I guess on par. I was between that and the DJI Mini 3 or something. I can't remember. So they're in that same thing. It does actually something that one apparently doesn't do, which is tracking. So that one won't, the DJI won't track, but the Potensic does.
Okay.
And I really had no idea what I was doing. If I would have had it over, that wouldn't have been a buying decision for me. Because in order to track, I was thinking, because I also do dog training and stuff, that I could track my dog and we could get good, videos of him throwing the ball and use that if I wanted to go back into dog training professionally and all this other stuff. When you're tracking the ball, it gets so high, you can't zoom in, and it's like, you don't really see that much. So now that I saw it, I wouldn't have bought it on that basically alone. I still might have bought it, but it wouldn't have been for that particular feature that the DJI didn't have.
You know how much it costs? I'm just
Yeah, it was
curious.
about, around $300.
$300. Do you know where it's made?
It's probably Chinese too, I would
Yeah.
guess.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. What kind of sensors? Is it like 4K camera on
yeah,
it?
4K.
Okay.
3 position, like a gimbal, like the
Yeah.
DJI one.
It's like a mini.
Yeah, it's a mini. Yeah. What is it called again? Potensic. Let me see.
If I could teach him to do it, he would do it. Yeah.
Potensic. Oh. Okay, I see it. Yeah, it does look like the mini. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, it does look very similar.
Yeah. All right. No, that's great. Like we also just want competition. Like DJI they're great, but they still own 70% of the market share. We need more drone options, right? The more competition we have, the more the prices would likely go down and we'll find better drones. And this is where it gets really dangerous, because if we end up kicking DJI out of the US, we're going to have only Skydio and Brink. So if there's no incentive right now for them to build consumer drones when they have a solid competition, do you think the incentive will be there once they figure out that they now have the monopoly? You know, it's just a question to ask. So this is one of the concerns that we had. Before moving forward, I wanted to share this drone, a DJI drone. I wish it wasn't, but it is. So this is the Neo for those who might be first-time flyers. This drone is $199. To get the additional batteries, I think it goes up to $240 or something like that. Hobbyist drone, but in the hands of a professional, this can be a very powerful drone. I used this drone to map an entire historic site when I traveled to Africa last year, and it did a really good job. So it has a 4K sensor. The drone can actually follow you. I'll do a demo later. I don't want to do it now. But yeah, for $199, this is the kind of technology you get from DJI. Very, very compelling. Yes, please go ahead.
Just a quick note. A lot of people think, oh, it's under 250 grams, so I don't have to register it. But if you're doing it under Part 107,
you have to register it.
Doesn't matter what it weighs, you still have to register it.
Yep.
Cool thing about that one, though, because I flew for Emerson Hot Rod Days, is I got the the remote ID for it that actually fit on it, still kept it under the weight.
Yep.
And I fit under the category 1 of flying over people. So with that one, I was able to legally become a Cat 1 for operations over people for an event.
So what control, did you use a dedicated controller or you use your phone?
I actually have the
Mini?
I have the goggles.
The goggles, okay. Yeah. So you can use your phones to actually control this drone. So they have the flight controller app that's just on your phone, and you can use your phone to fly. However, the link is very poor. I think after like 100 feet, it loses connection. So if you use a dedicated controller, you would get. So like to Vaughn's point, you will be blown away by just, the only downside to this is just it has a very short battery life. I think it's about 12, 13 minutes or so. So, but if you have multiple batteries, you could get away with doing a lot just using that drones. Even with new 3D reconstruction techniques, you can use it for 3D modeling and mapping as well. So, yes?
Sorry to interrupt. So the size really doesn't matter. You have to get all of those things that you guys were talking about, like the trust and the, depending on what you're doing, right? The 107.
So the size does matter, I would say, but it doesn't matter for the Part 107. You still need to get the Part 107 regardless. Whether you're flying that drone for commercial or non-hobby, or you're flying this, you need a Part 107. So yeah, to your point, you're right. But there is categorization of drones based on weight and size. You would do all of that in the Part 107, but just get the Part 107.
For parents that are purchasing them for their kids, for Christmas or whatever, I mean, it still has to be more of a structured use for it, right? Because you can't just fly it.
Well,
open up the gift and just fly it.
Yeah.
Homes, streets.
Yeah, nah, that's not a good idea. So when you buy it, before you unbox it, you should probably have the child take the trust exam. They don't need the Part 107 if they're not flying for non-recreational use. If they're flying for just recreational, they want to fly in the backyard, or it's okay to fly above people's houses as long as you're not doing it in a creepy way, sneaking in. It's going to be fine. But you need that trust exam. It's not an exam, the trust training to be able to fly as a recreational pilot. You could do it, but to be a good citizen, just take the trust.
I would also add to think about like your child and if you think they're responsible enough to understand like certain rules of because they may not be able to understand like the laws and certain, but you can understand like, hey, you really shouldn't fly here, do it there. As an example, my neighbor, like she has 2 grandkids, she got them a drone because it was cool, and like within 5 minutes they flew like right into a tree. And then right after that, they flew right into like the neighbor's backyard after I can get at a tree. So really think about like, are they responsible enough? And not only that, but like, is the drone that I'm about to give them, do I have to worry about it being like structurally sound or like programmed well enough so that if they do mess up, will they crash into it? Because another thing I wish I told them about, there's a light flight helicopter that flies over our houses regularly, and I'm so glad they lost behind the house because next thing, they probably would have flown right into that helicopter.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You got to fly under 400 feet regardless. You cannot fly, and you should not fly unless you have some kind of waiver. You shouldn't fly more than 400 feet. And if you do see manned helicopter or aircraft, they have the right of way. You should always bring your drone. So there's stuff like that, right? So once you start to get into it, you see that there is risks associated with it. The other advice I would have is start with a cheap drone, because they will crash the drone. Everybody crashes the drone eventually. So start with something that you can afford to lose. And then, yes, go ahead.
If I did crash my drone, what would be the best place to repair it?
Great question. Again, DJI. If you're flying a DJI drone, when you buy a DJI drone, there's something called a DJI Care. Again, it's just amazing how they've strategically be able to provide drones without, breaking back. But essentially, when you buy the DJI Care, it's a warranty. If you crash the drone, you can send it back to them and they'll send you a new one, essentially.
First drone, get DJI Care.
Yeah, you must get DJI Care. It's worth it.
No, I already have a drone. I already flew it into a tree.
Oh, okay. Well, if you flew, I know there's some. That could also be I don't know, people who repair drones. The thing about it is that when a drone crashes, it's very hard to get it back. Like, unless, it doesn't have, like, if the gimbal falls off and the propellers break and one of the arms break, at that point, you might as well just buy a new drone. But I know there are some online vendors that could actually help you fix your drone. If it's like something like this that is tens of thousands of dollars, there will be people that will be able to help you. But that's the only manufacturer that I know. Vaughn, I don't know, does Skydio provide something similar like the DJI Care?
I don't know on Skydio. Altel has something similar to it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit pricier than, they have pricier drones too, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite sure about Skydio. I haven't bought anything from them.
I think there's these guys, I don't know exactly where, but they're over like Sahara and Fort Apache, something like that. There's like a drone company, they repair drones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Might want to talk to him later.
If you're going to start doing commercial work and have to do permits, any of your permits will require you to have insurance.
Yes, that's the next thing I was going to get into.
Drone insurances, which aren't too bad at the price point.
Yeah. So one that I use a lot is Skywatch. Skywatch, you can actually buy the insurance per hour. So you just pay for it only when you need the insurance. But always insure your drone if you're doing some kind of commercial work. Yes, please.
Just to tell you, that one I bought has something called Forensic Care.
Okay.
You have 48 hours to sign up for it once you activate the drone.
Yes.
And then you get up to, they'll send you 2 free drones. Like, you can break it and they'll send you a drone 2 times.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's essentially
Well,
DJI.
not free, whatever
Yeah.
you pay, it was like $80.
Yeah, that's DJI's model. So I have crashed a drone in the past, and it just gives you that level of confidence that, right, yeah, if something goes wrong, I can get a different drone. It's not going to be completely free, but you would pay like a fraction of the price that you would pay for a new one. So that's,
like the phones thing.
yeah, essentially. So, all right, we'll move forward to our next, unless anyone has anything they want to say regarding drone hardware, questions, comments. Yeah. How's everybody feeling so far about the conversation? Good? Good. All right. The next thing I want to do here is a shameless plug for Aero AI. It's essentially our software, which we launched on Tuesday, called SIGA, short for the Simulation Environment for Geospatial Assets. So thank you so much. I'll show you a video here shortly. This is our website. You can check out aeroai.io/SIGA viewer, and you can check out the website. Essentially, this software came from the very onset when we started the company, when I was still in grad school at UNLV. I have been flying drones for over 5 years professionally. I had helped 2 engineering firms set up successful drone programs here in Las Vegas that went nationwide. And one of the experiences that I had at that time was the limitation that you encounter when you're trying to use the drone data. There are different ways to use drone data. So, you could essentially just print it out as a PDF, as a map. You could watch a video of it, you could send it to someone. But once you start to get into those architecture engineering workflow, you need software to visualize that data. So Vaughn, myself, Charles, some of us, we would typically fly drones to capture 3D models, point cloud. There are tools to visualize this, but typically they do it in isolation. So they're either visualizing the point cloud and the model, or just the point cloud or the model, or both. We started building SIGA as a tool to be able to aggregate diverse data sets. Because typically our end users, when they fly drones and they capture the data and process it into a 3D model, they're often using it in comparison to something they've designed. So you think about a building, a construction site, anything like that. Anything that has to be built in the real world has to be designed first. So this software allows the architects to take their design files, right? And then also, if the construction is going on, the data that's being generated from the sites, you can visualize all of that together. The breakthrough here is our use of game engine technology. So we use technology that's been used to build video games, to build a visualization tool to visualize this. It's called the Unreal Engine, if you're familiar with it, if you're a gamer.
I was going to ask you if that's exactly what you use.
Yeah, so the Unreal Engine is what we use. It's a very high fidelity, high graphics fidelity, physics powered video game engine that allows us to now visualize diverse data sets. So all of a sudden, instead of an architect working in Revit, a separate software, and an engineer working in Civil 3D, they can all work in one shared environment, become a single source of truth. But we've seen adoption grow, really. Like, we've seen adoption architecture, we've seen adoption with education as well. There's a California school district that's now leveraging SIGA for training. We've seen adoption with archaeological documentation. So this is something that I'm also very passionate about here in Las Vegas. We have a lot of historic sites, and we also have, I think we went out to, what are those markings on the wall? What are they called? Like petroglyphs, right? So the people who go out to look at those, there are climbers who climb on rocks. These are all assets that can be modeled and visualized. And from our experience, we've seen some of our users have those kind of assets and visualize it. So anyways, yeah, go ahead.
So I have a question on the software that you're utilizing. Does it have ground penetration when you're mapping out like archaeological sites yet? And as far as like what you can see underneath,
Yeah.
you know, say like you're in the Amazon rainforest. Can you penetrate the canopy into the ground below?
So that's not the software software's job. That's the drone's job. So yeah, there are drones that can have ground GPR, ground penetrating radar sensors. So it doesn't matter, right? Whatever data you capture, we can visualize here. So we're now focusing on what drone, what data. We're just focusing on the software so that whatever drone you fly, they're all capturing the same. Whether you use DJI's, you know, Matrix 4, or you use Skydio, they're all going to capture imagery. And those imagery you're likely going to use for 3D models or point cloud. So this software is just a way for you to visualize, create simulations, and share that data, essentially. That's what it is. All right, so let's go ahead and, yeah, so these are some of the capabilities. Again, Unified Data Hub. You can bring LiDAR in here, you can bring photogrammetry in here, you can bring GIS data in here, you can bring computer-aided drawings, which are created in software programs used by architects. You can bring building information modeling. It goes on and on and on. And we see the value for this because it significantly dials down the cost that an organization would use to buy different software programs to visualize or use each of these data sets. We also have a lot of AI stuff. You see here, it's essentially like a video game. It turns your data into a video game, and I have like a 9-minute video. I don't know if we have enough time, I'll speed it up, to show you how you go from drone images to like a video game using this platform. You can also measure. It lets you simulate weather. So you could simulate like sunlight, you can simulate thunderstorm, you can simulate snow, and this is all happening in a geospatially accurate environment. I don't want to use these jargons because typically they're for GIS folks, but essentially the software lets us stream the whole world into the game engine. And by doing that, we can bring a ton of data because we're using cloud-based infrastructure. So typically, let me say this, typically, the software programs that are used to visualize these data sets are running locally, and they're visualizing the data locally. If you've captured LiDAR data or like very high resolution photogrammetry, you would need a very powerful computer to process it and visualize it. But because SIGA is fully cloud-based, all of that data we host in a very secure cloud by AWS, and we stream it just like you would stream a Netflix movie. So I use the analogy, you know how you have thousands of movies on Netflix when you turn it on, but you're typically you don't have all those movies on your TV screen, right? The moment you start playing one movie, you start streaming. That's essentially the same kind of technology, we're just using it for 3D. So 3D streaming, when you visit a specific location, it only loads the data in that location. So by doing this, we're able to we can be in a situation where if you capture drone data of all of Vegas, all of the country, all of the world, we can have it in here. So that's the power here for like large-scale projects, and a company that has multiple projects, an architect that has a project in another state can essentially use a tool like this to visualize their data. All right, so I have this video, which I'm going to, I think we still got about 18 minutes. I'm just gonna play very quickly that just illustrates. And again, this is available on YouTube. I highly recommend it. All of the tools used here are free, so you could check them out and do it on your own if you wanted to. So this starts with a construction site. So how you might take a construction site, this construction site, and turn it into an immersive video game. So I'll play the video.
Transform your drone scans into fully interactive game environments. This complete workflow is powered by reality capture, Cesium, and Aero AI. We'll go from raw drone imagery to a 3D model, and finally, to an explorable 3D world. First, let's review our drone datasets. Here we have a capture folder containing 1784 images. Step 1, data processing using reality capture. You can download it for free from Capture.
So this is a processing software that you could use to process your drone data.
Once the Epic Games launcher is installed, navigate to the Reality Capture tab and install or launch the application. Here, we're launching version 1.5.1. Inside Reality Capture, we'll load our drone images. For this, we'll utilize the helpful Map Wizard. Click Map Wizard under the Workflow tab, then select Images to add our dataset. Navigate to the folder containing all your...
These are all the images you captured of the site, essentially.
Reality Capture detects 1784 geo-referenced images. Click Next. Now we'll pick the coordinate system. It's crucial to ensure your images have GPS exit data for accurate georeferencing. Here we're selecting N8083 Nevada East in US feet. Next, verify the reconstruction region. You can adjust this bounding box to define the precise area you want to process from your images. Once set, click Next. For our goal, we'll select Maps and Models to generate both an orthographic map and a 3D model. Click Next. Now we select Map and Model Processing settings. We can expand these sections to fine-tune parameters. For the map, we'll keep default quality-based settings. For the model, we'll choose normal detail for a good balance of quality and processing speed. You can also set export options here. We'll proceed without adding specific exports at this stage, as we'll use the direct Cesium ion upload later. Click Go to start processing.
So this will now process your drone images into a 3D model. You can use different software, free. There's a bunch of free software to do
This
this.
takes some time depending on the dataset size and your hardware. Once processed,
So this is the results from the drone images.
Results. Here's the initial alignment showing camera positions. We can zoom and pan to inspect the generated point cloud, and then switch to view the textured 3D model, ensuring everything looks accurate.
So this is how we get the model on the cloud.
Cesium ion. Remember to sign up for a free Cesium ion account. Back in Reality Capture, under the Workflow tab, click Share and choose Upload to Cesium ion. Name your model. We'll use Tinnitus Spring 0522-2025. You can add a description, then click Upload. Reality Capture will now prepare and upload the model to your Cesium ion account.
So yeah, it's going to tile the model into what they call 3D tiles and turn it into a format that you can stream on the web. So that's what's happening right now. It's uploading it. So Cesium is
Step
the...
3.1. Adjust the tile in Cesium ion if necessary. In your Cesium ion My Assets dashboard, you'll see the uploaded model. Cesium ion will automatically begin the tiling process if it hasn't completed.
So it lets you put the model in the actual location in the web.
Geolocation or georeference if needed. The 3D Tiles location editor allows you to adjust longitude, latitude, height, rotation, and scale. Here we're slightly adjusting the height and ensuring the model is correctly placed on the globe. Click Save. Next we need to create a Cesium token to access our data and other applications.
You only get to do this once. So I know it feels like a lot of steps. So once you do this once,
Give your token a name.
from that point you're like, you're good to
Click
go.
Create and copy the generated token. Step 4. Real-time 3D
So this is our software. So this is what you can now do with what we've built.
Visit aeroi.io and click Sign Up. Select Ziga Globe Viewer, create your account, and remember to input your Cesium access token during sign up or in your profile later. Once logged into your Aero AI account dashboard, you can download Ziga Go to your profile page to add or update your Cesium token. Paste the token you copied from Cesium Ion here and save changes. You can find Ziga installation and user documentation at docs.aeroi.io. The documentation provides step-by-step instructions for downloading and installing the Ziga software. After completing the download and installation, launch Ziga using the Aero AI launcher. Click Launch for Ziga Viewer.
So this is our software.
Welcome to Ziga, your gateway to visualize, analyze, and simulate geospatial data. To load your model, click Actions, then Data Layers. If needed, you can
So all that data that you uploaded, you can also see the different kind of data sets. So Imagery, Datasmith. You can also bring Google's data down here.
Spring 0522-2025 model.
So this-
Toggle it on to load, and then click the Zoom to Tile icon to fly directly to our data's location. Ziga streams the 3D tiles from Cesium Ion, rendering your drone scan in a real-time 3D environment. You can freely navigate using standard game controls or fly-through mode.
So this is the model.
Now let's load a conversational AI 3D character. This allows you to ask questions related to the scan site. Go to Actions, Controls, then Add NPC. Choose a metahuman character.
So this is a feature that we have that lets you train an AI agent that understands your drone data. So if you're doing real estate, 1 second.
Hello.
1 second.
How can I assist you today in exploring or understanding a topic or project?
Once this is.
Hey, can you tell me about the progress made on this project so far?
Certainly. The project has shown significant progress over the past few months. As of May 22nd, 2025, concrete foundations for several units have been poured, particularly in the central and southern blocks. The easternmost lots are still in the graded preparation stage.
Chat GPT essentially, right? So you're asking now very quickly you could get insights of a site and you can compare multiple sites. So it's gonna show that here shortly.
Development is transitioning from site prep to foundational stages, with interior work likely underway in the most advanced sections.
I mean, this could also be a virtual real estate agent that essentially talks about you could train the AI with any information that you want, but this, like for instance, pricing. Yeah, let me pause this real quick. Vaughn, go ahead.
Well, I was just curious, did you get a victory avatar?
Could you get a custom avatar?
Is that one of the choices? Is a victory one?
Yeah, I mean, so right now we got two. We got Cooper and Maria. These are powered by a technology called MetaHuman, the Unreal MetaHuman tech. You can configure this. Vaughn, you could actually make one that looks exactly just like you, so you can customize them. So yeah, that's a good
Where's your
point.
safe house and like the nightclub? I mean, this is real life GTA right here.
I get that a lot. We get that a lot. Each time we pull this up, people talk about GTA. That's the reaction we want to get. Our goal is to make drone data and engineering in general as exciting as playing a video game. That's it. But anyways, I want to show you some of the other features because this is not the only ones we have. I'm just gonna.
As of May 2025 are as follows. 1. Avondale in square feet.
I'll move this.
Okay, thank you.
So for your question,
You're welcome.
I was working on this
If you have any more
that
questions,
we will do people, doctors on green screens. And we haven't written, 2 minutes of random lines and do certain movements. And then we get the data and we have their avatar connected to ChatGPT and then we're in some sort of like a mirror. So when you go to whatever thing, you start interacting with the virtual doctor before getting into your consultation. So pretty much you can utilize the same technology to this.
Yeah, no, it's the reason why we're it's funny, this analogy was funny. I was talking to a guy recently that wanted to, use our technology for education, and he was like, and I'm sorry I gotta make this, and he was like, do you know what Viagra was made for? I was like, where is this going? And he essentially said it was essentially made initially for heart problems, and then people changed it to something else. He was just trying to say the agnostic nature of what we're building and how it could be used for different things. So if you think about learning history, historical sites, or learning different kind of concepts, this level of immersion will enable that. But I just wanted to play some of the additional features. So what it's doing here, we're able to load multiple scans. So you can scan every day, every month, and you can stack them and see the difference.
For example, an earlier scan from Tenaya Springs 0316 and 25, you can visually track progress and changes over time, side by side, or by toggling visibility. Explore the scan site in 3D avatar mode. This gives you a ground level perspective, allowing for intuitive walkthroughs and site inspections. You can also create animated video cameras and export renderings.
If you pay attention, this is all running on the web. You don't need like a complex computer to do
Playback shows
this.
the animated camera moving through the site, providing dynamic visualizations. SIGA includes tools to draw, measure, and annotate directly in the 3D environment. Here, we're measuring the length of a sidewalk section.
You could draw land,
Simulate different weather
volume.
conditions to understand their potential
So we're
impact.
simulating rain,
Presentation context.
thunderstorm.
Watch as we switch from a thunderstorm with lightning and rain to just rain, and then back to default clear skies.
Does it do cut and fill?
Effortlessly comparing.
We don't have the cut and fill feature yet.
Data layers panel.
But we're definitely looking into that because that's very important. Volumetric studies.
/SIGA/viewer.
Yeah.
Contact info@aeroi.io.
Okay, that's what we're building, and that's what just launched this week. We would like to have you test it if you are interested in this. Give us feedback. We're really proud for the work that we've been doing. Our team are based here in Las Vegas. We're all UNLV alumni, or some of them are students, and we're grateful for the support we continue to get as well from existing clients, some of our pilot clients, and also just people testing out the software. It's been it's been quite overwhelming actually this week, number of downloads we've got and people trying to, use this software program. It's definitely a paradigm shift. So we have to do a lot of work in educating people. We have about what's possible with game engine technology. It's not all fun and games. You can actually use it to do some critical work. So we're one of the very first firms that are doing this kind of work. We have some competition, but leveraging this technology, the way we've put it together, being able to access the technology on the cloud, on a web browser, without having to download anything, even on your phone, it's extremely powerful. It's not fully 100% where we would like it to be, but it's good that it's production ready at this point. Yes, please go ahead.
So in regards to showing like the weather and stuff and everything, will it also take into consideration, we'll take Vegas for example.
Yeah.
Like lighting certain times of the year. Will it show your house and give the example of, in the summertime, the heat will hit on this side of the house is faced this way? Like, does it give environmental impact on the, like, if it's overpopulation in that particular area? Will it take those kind of things into consideration when it's setting those kind of things up as well?
So what you can currently do right now is you could do real-time dynamic weather movements. So if you wanted to know at what specific time there would be shade in an area, you can move the sun slider. Population and things like that are not features that we have built yet. But I mean, if there is that's one of the other things I wanted to say. We have the ability to very quickly customize the software. In fact, that's how a lot of our users are building custom features into it. Like this specific example, this is a site. I'll get back to this video here shortly. This is Lagos, Nigeria. This is a historic site. This port that you see here, we had about 3.5 million slaves that were shipped through this port. And I had the opportunity to work with a genealogical company to go to Nigeria to scan this site. So we leveraged this drone.
Like I say, that data set is from a NEO, yes?
Yes. So we use this drone because the regulation is still quite tough in Nigeria. So I kind of snuck this into the country. It's my country. It's okay. It's okay. It's all good. And then we captured the data. We were doing good work. We were doing good work. We were doing good work. So we scanned it. And then we recreated. This site essentially has been abandoned, and it's sad because it's a major tourist site. So we recreated it for this agency that is now using SIGA to essentially create that virtual experience. So now you can go in and just like anything else, you could be here in Vegas and you could thousands of kilometers away or miles away, you could go around and see this project. So this is just one example as to how SIGA is being used essentially.
So you're secretly the Nigerian James Bond guy.
Yeah, essentially. So you can see, we're even visualizing the ocean right there. As you can see the water. So this is all possible using game engine graphics. I was just talking to someone earlier. All of these became possible just a few years ago. Some of these things were not available a few years ago. So being able to create this level of fidelity, put it on the web, MetaHumans only came out a few years ago. It's just new tech. So the adoption is growing, and we're hoping the technology will improve over time. Brandon, go ahead.
How often do you update the data?
We don't update the data. You can update, it's your data. You can bring your data in. You can update it. Yeah, that's the whole point, right? You can bring your own data sets in here, upload as much data sets as you want. We have had visions of building a library of drone data around Vegas, essentially around the world. But we quickly realized right now we don't have an incentive for people to contribute to that library. Although it will be very powerful to have a repository of drone models, of critical sites, of important locations here. So if you're interested in doing something like that, we can talk about our marketplace that we're building. Okay, I think I'm gonna see if this is, one more example, just to show you, oops. Yeah, so let's see if I can, right here. So in this specific example, we showcase how SIGA is being used for simulating traffic, essentially, bless you. So this is an engineering client, like I explained earlier. This is not even drone data. This is a CAD data. So this is an overpass that an engineering firm has designed, and they have it all in plan in 2D drawings. but they got to do these public meetings and communicate their plans to the public. And when they saw our technology, they thought, wow, this is perfect for what we need, because now anybody can just, understand what it looks like in 3 dimensions. So you can go in and see a project that is being designed, and you can see it before it's actually done. And the key here was the smart traffic. This is all AI-powered traffic. They're not free-flowing traffic. As you can see them, they actually stop at red lights, and they move in the green light. So this is a kind of a feature that does not come with SIGA out of the box. But if you showed up and wanted to build anything, like for instance, the school district shows up and say, hey, we want to use this tool to create immersive learning for math and history or whatever, we can quickly build it. So you could see a train going through. This is just an example that we would show to like an engineering firm that does traffic simulation. It's a very versatile tool. I hope I'm not trying to sell it, but I just have to say what the features are. And we're very proud. We're proud of what we're building. And I think that's, let's see, yeah, we had a drone workshop a few months ago, which was awesome. A lot of you guys were there. We showed you, Charles and I showed you how you could create 3D models and point clouds. This workshop was a 2-day workshop, and we provided food, and it was only $15. Right? We dropped so much knowledge at this workshop that I think everyone that showed up, we had a lot of good feedback. We want to continue to do more of this because we figured like we need to share more knowledge so people can go beyond getting their Part 107 and actually creating data sets or creating deliverables that's professional. So I just wanted to show you some of the videos that we had. Actually, I had one part of the video I want to show you guys. This is it right here. This is a model that Paula created. This was the first. Paula, do you want to talk about your first time creating this model right here?
The first one I ever did. I thought it was great. The workshop was awesome. Learned a lot of new things, and have a couple projects that I want to try and model now.
Yeah. So
it was easy.
Totally. Very easy. Like these things may seem like, oh my God, it's so complicated. No, it's pretty straightforward. Once you capture the drone data, a lot of it is just you click a button and it does the processing, and you click another button and it uploads it, and all of a sudden you actually have your game. It's really that easy. So just wanted to.
And I just want to add, like 2 years ago when I started doing like mapping and modeling in general, I thought it was going to be a very hard thing to do, and like honestly, like even in like the first 2 months of me doing it, simply just Googling and looking up whatever it is that I wanted to know just helped a lot. And there has been a lot of like information, knowledge passed around in the past 2-3 years alone, last 20 years, last 30 years about mapping and modeling that, or anything in general, like all you have to do is just ask someone and you will probably find out the answer that you need in like a week tops.
Yeah.
So
totally.
Don't be shy to ask about drones in general or mapping and modeling or photography. Anything that's drone related that you want to find out, all you gotta do is ask, and someone will steer you in the right direction.
Yeah, join the Facebook group. It happens all the time. Put your questions in there, and someone will answer that question. Or show up here and ask your questions away, and we'll be able to answer your question. It's we're here to build. If you also have a business, we do drone pilot highlights here. If you're a drone pilot and you want to share what you're working on, we can give you the entire half of the entire day to talk about your business. We've done it in the past. So I'm going to kind of stop here and share some of the events that are coming up. In September, we have Commercial UAV Expo. This is the largest commercial drone event that happens here in Las Vegas every year. We typically get free tickets that's worth up to, I think, $1,000 or $1,900 or something like that. We can give some out, so if you keep showing up leading to that, we might be able to get you a free ticket. But this is an event I highly recommend to every drone enthusiast because you're just going to have a good time. There's all kinds of drones here, and it's happening here in Vegas, so why not? So please take note of that if you want to go in September. And again, I just wanted to share the Vegas Drone Meetup that really different communities here in Las Vegas, drone communities are building together. The second drone meetup that we're going to have in November, it's a 3-day event, sorry, not 2. I'll be sharing more about this. We're going to have training. There's people from all over the country showing up. Yes, Vaughn, go ahead.
A little bit, because I'm on the committee for it. Greg Libido with the Pilot Institute, he's going to try and do some classes on the 7th and 8th.
Yep.
So we've got a facility for him to actually do some classes. So
we're going to be doing some kind of mapping or modeling class. But just wanted to add that. Sorry,
so
go ahead.
We've got some extra stuff that we're going to have a panel, but they have a panel of experts like Vic Moss, Some of the big influencers that you see on YouTube, they come to it. We're working on getting an FPV racing demo, if not a chance to do something on that. And on the Sunday, they do adventures. Like you go out, Isaiah with Drone Envisions does a 4x4. We go out somewhere where you get some really cool things. You go 4x4 and then fly your drones around some cool areas. So it's actually grown since last year.
Yeah. So please, you're all invited. Yes, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle.
Hi,
I'm school for Yates Academy of Leadership, and one of the things I'm teaching my students, moving forward is about drones.
Okay.
I saw the mapping and modeling. I like that. But this is my first time. In our past, we have taught our students cooking, crocheting, and gardening skills.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just something that we want to get into. Could you kind of guide me? Like, what would you suggest would be the best thing, for me, for my students? So basically, my students go from pre-kindergarten all the way to 8th grade.
Yeah.
And what type of things?
Yeah, we could totally talk one-on-one. You can also talk to Vaughn after this. I just want to run through, bros. Please hang around, and after this, I'll talk to you in person, and we should be able to, talk to you about that. But yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, that's it, everyone. I hope you had fun. We're doing this again in a month. Remember, 4 p.m. today we have the launch party. So yeah, after putting you through all of that, you will actually get to give you some food at 4. If you can hang around, please join us. I want to thank you for showing up, for being so attentive and engaging. Here. So it's at Taverna Costera. Thank you. Taverna Costera is the bar behind us. You can't miss it. Just Google Taverna Costera. If you just walk out, it's right next to us. There's going to be food and drinks. So please come out and support the drone community and the startup that we're building. And I want to thank you all. Thank you for taking the pain and the time to listen to me talk about all of this stuff. We also have some souvenirs here. These are just like sunglasses, if you want some of them. And it has our logo here. You could probably, we're giving these out for free. So please come pick one. I mean, it's summer in Vegas, so you might as well put this when you're flying. I wish I had a Matrice 400, but not today. Maybe some other time once they start sponsoring us. You never know. That's the whole. When we started this, we didn't get free tickets from Commercial UAV Expo, but now we do. That's the whole point of this community. That hopefully we can bring sponsorship, we can invite people to come talk to us, we can do more trainings, and so on and so forth. So thank you very much. Please mingle, talk to each other, share contacts, and I'll see you next month. Thank you.